Building a budget that actually leads your firm. Most law firms have a budget. Very few are led by one. You probably built yours in January. Maybe you pulled last year's numbers, adjusted a few lines, added a percentage here and there. And it made sense at the time. It looked right. It felt responsible. Then February came. A couple of cases pushed from Q2 into Q4. One expense line came in 15% over. And somewhere around March, the budget stopped being something you looked at and became something you filed away. That's not a discipline problem, it's a design problem. Because the way most firms build and use a budget, it was never going to lead anything. It was built to record. And there's a real difference between a financial tool that records what happened and one that actually tells you where to go next. That distinction is what this video is about. Here's something that sounds obvious once you hear it, but changes everything when you actually sit with it. A thermometer tells you the temperature. That's all it does. It reads the room, shows you a number, and waits. A thermostat does something different. It sets a target. It watches constantly, and the moment the room drifts from where it should be, it activates. It doesn't wait for the end of the year to notice the drift. It responds in real time. Most law firm budgets are thermometers. They get built once, they sit in a folder or a spreadsheet, and they get compared to actual results at year end, sometimes at mid-year if you're disciplined. When the numbers are off, the reaction is, we need to cut, or we had a good run, but the budget itself didn't drive any decision in between. It just recorded. A budget that leads the firm works more like a thermostat. It sets a target and it keeps checking, not once a year, monthly. And when the numbers drift, it doesn't just show you that they did. It triggers a conversation. What changed and what do we do now? That shift from recording to responding is the whole game. I want to talk specifically about why this is hard for law firms because it's not the same challenge a product business has. If you're running a contingency practice, a personal injury firm, or any kind of plaintiff side litigation, you already know this. Your revenue doesn't arrive in a straight line. You carry a case for 12 months, sometimes 24 or 36, before a settlement pays out. Meanwhile, payroll runs, rent runs, case expenses run, expert witnesses, court costs, filing fees, all of it runs whether the case settles this quarter or not. So you build your annual budget projecting when settlements will come in. You look at your pipeline, you make your best estimates, and you put a revenue number on Q2. Then 2 cases slip from Q2 to Q4. The budget said you'd have the money. The bank says otherwise. And here's the thing, your budget wasn't wrong exactly. Those cases will settle. The revenue is real. But the timing mismatch between when work is done and when cash arrives is the actual operating reality of your firm, and an annual budget built on revenue projections can't capture that. According to Clio's 2024 Legal Trends Report, the median total lockup for small and mid-sized law firms is 93 days. That means the average firm holds nearly 3 months of income in unbilled or unpaid work at any given time. 3 months. That's not a small gap to manage. That's a structural feature of your business, and your budget needs to account for it. There's a second problem that's caught a lot of firms off guard over the past couple of years, and it has nothing to do with revenue. It's costs. Law firms are operating in an environment where expenses are accelerating faster than billing rates. K38 Consulting's 2025 data shows direct costs increased about 8.5% year over year, with overhead climbing close to 7.5%. The average billing rate increase over the same period was around 6.5%. That's the highest billing rate jump since 2020, and it still didn't keep pace with the cost side. What that means in practice, the budget you built on last year's numbers was already structurally underwater before February. Not because your firm is struggling, because the inputs changed and the budget didn't. This is where the annual document approach breaks down completely. You're making decisions in June based on assumptions you made in January about a cost structure that looked different in December. And by the time the P&L comes back negative on what felt like a strong revenue month, you're already behind. A firm that's steering blind on the hope of profitability is not lazy or irresponsible. It just doesn't have the right tool in its hand. So what does it actually look like when a firm uses the budget as a leadership tool instead of a tracking document? It starts with cadence. The firms I've seen do this well review budget versus actual every month, not at year end, every month. That one habit changes the conversation more than anything else. Because when you sit down in April and you budgeted $180,000 in collections and you're at $140,000, you're not doing a post-mortem. You're asking a real-time question. What changed and what do we do about it? That question makes the whole team financially literate. It makes your operations person aware of where the firm stands. It makes your billing person understand why timing matters. It stops finance from being something that lives only with the managing partner or the accountant and starts being something the whole firm participates in. The other thing firms that lead with their budgets do differently. They connect the numbers to actual decisions. Not personnel, X dollars, overhead, Y dollars as a list of categories, but we need $420,000 in collections by June to fund the associate hire in Q3. Every dollar tied to a real outcome. When the numbers are framed that way, the monthly review isn't a compliance exercise. It's the answer to the question your team is actually asking, are we on track? And for firms with contingency or case-based revenue, the firms I've watched navigate this well build a rolling cash flow picture alongside the annual budget. Not a complicated system, just a realistic view of the next 13 weeks or 6 months that gets updated as cases move. Because the gap between revenue earned and cash received is not a mystery. It's predictable if you're watching it. The budget sets the target. The rolling forecast tells you whether you're going to hit it before you get there. Here's what I keep coming back to. The firms that are led by their budgets aren't more sophisticated. They don't have bigger finance teams or more complex accounting systems. They've developed a different habit. They've decided that the number isn't just something to report. It's something to respond to. There's a version of your firm where you walk into any given month knowing whether you're on track, where the gaps are, and what decision the number is asking you to make. Where your whole team, not just you, has a shared picture of where the firm is headed, where the budget isn't filed away in February, but is the thing that tells you in June whether to hire, whether to hold, whether to push. That's a different kind of firm, not a bigger one necessarily, a clearer one. And the thing I find worth sitting with, most of the firms I've worked with already had the information they needed. The cases, the billing data, the expense patterns, it was all there. The question was never whether the data existed. It was whether anyone was using it to lead. If you took your current budget and looked at it today, not at year end, but right now, in June, what would it tell you? And more importantly, what decision would it ask you to make? That's the difference between a budget that records and a budget that leads. Thanks for spending time with me today. If this resonated, I'd love to hear what your budget is telling you right now. Drop a comment below, and I'll see you in the next one.